This was the demonstration that finally got the Israeli government's attention. After nearly 3 weeks of playing down and some even dismissing the social protest movement, no politician could ignore the sight of over 250,000 Israelis in the streets of Tel Aviv. No lawmaker could pretend not to hear their mantra chanted over and over again. The people demand social justice. And no one could miss the posters telling Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to go home, or comparing him to a pig, presumably living off a system that favors the rich at the expense of the everyday Israeli.
The situation is economy which is based on monopoles, on few people that run the place, and they do some, negotiations between themselves, giving money to some politicians, and they do what they want. They are having gainings of thousands of percents of profit for few people who just gaining all the profit they want on our backs. That's a revolution all about.
The night kicked off with a free concert by one of Israel's most popular singers, Shlomo Artzi. He electrified the crowd. His classic hit, "Soon We'll Be in a New Country," hit a chord among many who feel Israel needs a new economic plan. The music was followed by a rousing speech by Daphna Leaf, the young woman who single-handedly started the protest movement by pitching the first tent on Rothschild Boulevard. Together we've built something new, she said, and our voices won't be silenced until there's justice. She denied claims that divisions in the movement were pulling it apart, saying everyone was united in the cause for change, even if differences of opinion existed.
We're going to continue gaining more strength, and more people are going to go on the street, and eventually we're going to succeed. The system is going to change.
Religious Israelis were more visible than in previous weeks, joining the secular students and young professionals who first began the movement.
We're going to find. Otherwise, there is no country, there is no security, there is no reason to go to the army. There is nothing. We got nothing from this country. They take everything.
The impact of the demonstration on Saturday night was felt as early as Sunday morning in the Prime Minister's weekly cabinet meeting. He said he believed many Israelis were indeed suffering, and he promised to make changes. 2 committees have now been set up by the Prime Minister to deal with the demands of the protesters. An outside panel of experts will be assembled under the leadership of Tel Aviv University economics professor Manuel Trachtenberg, who was an economic advisor to former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert. His team of 10 will have about 6 weeks to come up with a plan to change economic priorities, ease tax burdens, expand social services, and increase competition to bring prices down. The panel's recommendations will then be passed on to a team of 15 socioeconomic ministers within the government, and then finally passed on to the Prime Minister in October. Leaders of the social protest movement seem encouraged that the government has responded, but some fear that with over 24 people in charge of making changes, disagreements and deadlock may occur. Jordana Miller, JN1, Jerusalem.